Good morning, and welcome to this fourth offering in the Vision Zero Central Florida Safety Speaker Series, which we are calling From the Perspective of Those Left Behind. I'm Marianne Horn. I'm the Community Outreach Strategist at MetroPlan Orlando, and I want to thank everyone for taking the time to be here today to talk with us about an issue that is of paramount importance to Central Florida, and that is keeping people from dying on the roads. At MetroPlan Orlando, our commitment to safety is part of our DNA. It has always been a top concern, but in the past year, we have added a new urgency through our work with Vision Zero Central Florida, an initiative that aims to make our roads safer for everyone. With the help of a federal grant, we have been analyzing statistics and assembling data that we think will help us to really make a difference in reducing traffic deaths. At the same time, we know that behind every statistic is a story, a personality, and most likely someone left behind. So I want to take just a minute to ask you a question. Can we stop traffic deaths in Central Florida? Can we get to zero? We want your answer. We want to see how you feel about that. And you'll see a poll question there pop up in front of you. YouTube viewers, you will not see this. Zoom viewers will. And it asks you, can we stop traffic deaths in Central Florida? And you can answer, yes, I think we can do it. I'm not sure, but I hope we can. And no, I don't think it will ever happen. For those of you who say, no, I don't think it will ever happen, you are in the right place. We might be able to change your mind on that. And I'm going to wait just a second to see if anyone else wants to answer the question. Tell us how you feel. Can we stop traffic deaths in Central Florida? Yes, not sure, don't think so. Okay, I think we have maybe gotten everyone who's going to answer. And it looks like 29% of us say, yes, I think we can do it. I think we can stop traffic deaths in Central Florida. That's great. We agree. 59% say, I'm not sure, but I hope we can. And that hope is going to propel us forward, I think. And like I said, 12% of us still say, no, I don't think it will ever happen. But let's see what you think at the end of this program. Quite a few of us think we can. Some are skeptical. We understand it. If you are so inclined, I would appreciate it if you'd put a few words in the chat about how you think we might stop traffic deaths and get to zero. What do we need to do to make a difference? Just put your answer in the chat there, and we would really like to hear your ideas. We asked you another question on our registration form, which was whether you or a loved one had been involved in a traffic crash. And quite a few of you have had that experience, I know. And last year, we made a video in Central Florida in which people shared their experiences. That video is on our Vision Zero Central Florida website right now, and I think we have the link to that in the chat if you'd like to see it. We heard some stories that just really tugged at our heartstrings, but perhaps the saddest thing of all was how easy it was to find people whose lives had been left in ruins because of a traffic crash. We literally just walked around Central Florida and asked people that we met the same question that we ask you on the registration form. This is an epidemic. In Orange, Osceola, and Seminole counties, more than 5 people are killed and 35 are seriously injured on our roads every week. We have to make it stop. We are committed to making it stop, and your presence here today tells me that if we work together, we can do it. We can get to zero. How will we do that? Well, a few of you have already shared some ideas. Let me just take a second to read a few of the ones. Get speeds down, and also better enforcement of speeds. Speed is a factor. Require hands-free cell phones, and use of autonomous vehicles with their technology to reduce traffic deaths, and also better education in our schools, young drivers and drivers to be. Well, our featured speaker has dedicated her life and her work to this pursuit. She is a survivor of tragedy who has turned her experience into advocacy and action. Melissa Wandall comes to us today as an enthusiastic spokesperson for Target Zero, a program of our partners at Florida Department of Transportation to combat traffic deaths. She also advocates for Vision Zero, as well as working with the National Coalition for Safer Roads. And of course, her tireless advocacy was the key to passing a bill in the Florida legislature named for her late husband, Mark, that helps change dangerous behaviors on our roads. I know you're going to be inspired by Melissa's presentation, and after we hear from her, we'll have time for you to ask her questions. You can use the Q&A feature at the bottom of your Zoom screen to do that at any time during the program. So now, if you will, please welcome Melissa Wandall.
Good morning. Just waiting for my slides here, and I hope you're all doing well this morning. And I'm grateful to be here to be able to present on how Target Zero builds on the Vision Zero belief. Okay. Excuse me, everyone, while I'm just trying to get my screen up here. Just bear with me. Okay, here we go. Here we are. Thank you
Great.
so much. I'm so sorry about that. We are all set, and we always have to have a little bit of an edge on my edge to get us started and get us going this morning. So good morning, everyone, and thank you so much, Marianne, for having me today. Again, as Marianne had mentioned, my name is Melissa Wandall, and I am a Target Zero ambassador, president of the National Coalition for Safer Roads, an advocate, a philanthropist, and a national speaker. The collaboration and combined efforts of MetroPlan Orlando, FDOT's Target Zero initiative, and Vision Zero Florida aim to achieve zero traffic-related injuries and fatalities on our Florida roadways. I have been gifted this opportunity to detail how our teamwork and commitment to roadway safety can improve and save Floridians' lives. My contact information is included at the end of this presentation. Do not hesitate to reach out to me if you have any questions or if you need a speaker for an event. I will get back to you. Also, at the end of this webinar, we will display a QR code that will take you to a 1-minute survey. Please fill it out with your contact information. The bottom of the form gives you the opportunity to leave comments and lets you select the ways you want to stay informed, knowledgeable, and engaged. Later in the presentation, you will learn why I was selected to speak on this topic, how one traffic crash affected my life and the lives of others, and why I will always advocate to eliminate serious injuries and fatalities on our roadways to achieve the goal of zero. We can do it. Some of you are watching are familiar with Florida's Target Zero initiative, and some of you are familiar with the Global Vision Zero movement. But how many of you understand how these two initiatives work together to achieve zero traffic-related injuries and fatalities on Florida's roadways? It is my hope at the end of this presentation that you will not only have a better understanding of the joint endeavors of these two initiatives, but you will also acquire knowledge and resources so collectively we can make impact and address road safety comprehensively. So first of all, let's start by defining what is Vision Zero and Target Zero independently. Vision Zero is a global movement to eliminate all traffic fatalities and severe injuries while increasing safe, healthy, equitable mobility for all. Vision Zero starts with the ethical belief that everyone has the right to move safely in their communities. System designers and policymakers share the responsibility to ensure safe systems for travel. Vision Zero holds the serious injuries and fatalities are preventable and focuses on making the roadway and surrounding environment as safe as possible. This includes the built environment, policies, and technologies that mitigate serious consequences of mistakes made by road users. So what is Target Zero? Target Zero is Florida's data-driven, multifaceted initiative to eliminate all traffic fatalities and serious injuries across our state's transportation system. Target Zero believes that serious injuries and fatalities on Florida roadways are preventable. Target Zero addresses Florida's unique transportation issues by incorporating evidence-based strategies demonstrated to generate solutions. Target Zero aligns Florida's resources and establishes actions for all state safety partners to improve how our citizens connect, interact, plan, design, operate, and maintain their transportation system. Target Zero builds on the Vision Zero belief of focusing on influencing dangerous driving behaviors before serious fatal crashes occur in the state of Florida. Target Zero is a collaborative effort. Floridians must all work together to achieve zero. The Target Zero and Vision Zero initiatives are very similar. Let's review how these two initiatives are alike. We will spend a little time on this slide sharing how Target Zero and Vision Zero are the same. Target Zero and Vision Zero both take a holistic approach. Vision Zero fuses engineering, education, enforcement, and evaluation together to create a comprehensive model. And Target Zero promotes multifaceted data-driven initiative, combining features from Florida's Strategic Highway Safety Plan, from FDOT's Design Manual, Traffic Engineering Manual, and Speed Zoning Manual. Target Zero also integrates regarding post-crash care and data from Florida's SunTrax facility. Both Target Zero and Vision Zero rely on data-driven strategies, using crash data and analysis to identify high-risk patterns and contributing factors to prioritize intervention and to create calls to action. Both initiatives involve advocating for and implementing policy changes and infrastructure improvements to enhance road safety. These could include measures like improved signage, crosswalks, and traffic calming measures alongside implementing automated enforcement. Both Target Zero and Vision Zero incorporate public awareness campaigns and educational programs to engage the community in promoting safe driving habits and increasing awareness about the importance of road safety. Currently, Target Zero has campaigns focusing specifically on speeding, distraction, and aggression, targeting young males ages 18 to 24 in 5 Florida priority districts with emphasis in specific counties. The focus regions of the current Target Zero campaigns are District 1, Polk, Manatee, and Sarasota counties, District 4, St. Lucie, Palm Beach, and Broward counties, District 5, Broward, Brevard, Lake, Marion, Orange, Osceola, Seminole, and Volusia counties, District 6, Miami-Dade County, and District 7, Citrus, Hernando, Hillsborough, Pasco, and Pinellas counties. Target Zero and Vision Zero collaborate and coordinate among various stakeholders, including government agencies, law enforcement, community organizations, advocates, local businesses, and the public. Both Target Zero and Vision Zero recognize that achieving the goal of zero cannot be done alone. We must all work together. Target Zero and Vision Zero share many of the same core elements, and both initiatives require a shift in how communities foster their actions, decisions, and attitudes regarding safe mobility. So how can Florida embrace these two initiatives? And exactly how does Target Zero build on Vision Zero principles? Target Zero expands on the global framework of Vision Zero by taking Florida's safety programs and safety campaigns one step further. Beyond Florida's law, Target Zero aims to uncover details specific to Florida's transportation system and its users to make educated, targeted improvements. Building on the Target Zero and Vision Zero shared goal of achieving zero traffic fatalities and serious injuries, Target Zero develops an action plan, collects and analyzes data, and educates and engages the community while simultaneously investing in infrastructure. To identify dangerous driving behaviors, Target Zero utilizes Florida's crash and citation data to identify risky driver behaviors and pinpoint targeted audiences. Target Zero employs focus groups within these audiences to further understand why these behaviors are occurring in our state. It also utilizes feedback to create impactful messages to influence safe driving. The goal of Target Zero is to change identified dangerous driver behaviors before crashes with serious injuries and fatalities occur in the state of Florida. Next, Target Zero localizes its message and approach to help address precursor behaviors that lead to dangerous driving behaviors. This allows for targeted interventions, specific calls to action, and aimed resource allocation. The Target Zero initiative enables a coordinated effort among Florida state agencies, local governments, and community stakeholders to address road safety. The statewide collaboration and coordination allow Florida safety programs and campaigns to be shared within education, public awareness, and community engagement arenas. Florida can utilize the larger picture to invest in infrastructure and policy change, enhanced enforcement, and intelligent evaluation. Here you can see that Target Zero's current behaviors the initiative aims to eliminate, the reason behind the driver behaviors, including the call to action for each. Florida's Target Zero initiative builds on Vision Zero fundamentals to reduce roadway tragedy in our state. We must all work together towards zero to promote road safety on our Florida roads. Every Floridian, every single one of us, has a responsibility to do our part to ensure safe, healthy, equitable mobility for each and every one of us. You can participate in the Florida's network of resources and information for sharing among Target Zero community partners. So how can you further the Target Zero initiative? You can join one of Florida's safety coalitions or access and disperse Target Zero video, audio, and social media content to support community outreach and engagement. You can get connected to Safe System Approach resources. All you need to do is go to targetzeroflorida.com. So how do I support Target Zero? Several years ago, I formed my own company, M3 Motivational Concepts, so I could educate, encourage, and empower individuals and organizations for greater impact. I travel the US and abroad sharing my personal story so that others can utilize my forward momentum to affect positive change in their own lives. I have always been an advocate, but establishing M3 created new opportunities to aid others as they strive towards their own personal goals. So my personal story, why I'm here today, and why I believe that we can all get to zero, why I believe in hope, why I believe that all of us working together will get to zero. On October 24th of 2003, my husband of 1 year and 5 days left our home to go to dinner, and he never walked back in. We were supposed to go out to dinner with my husband and my brother, and they left. And I decided not to go as I just was not feeling well. And my husband said, "But Melissa, I love you and I'm going to miss you." And I said, "I love you too, silly, but I'll see you in just a few minutes." Well, he never made it back home. Just a mile from our home, he was a passenger in my brother's vehicle and was killed by another motorist who ran a red light just 2 weeks before our first daughter was born. My brother was also in that crash, and today, at 50 years old and 20 years later, remains emotionally and physically debilitated from that crash. When crashes occur, it can be tough for many reasons, but when there is death and serious injury involved, the downward spiral of the domino effect is real. I could not just sit with this crash. I needed to act positively in my grief and be a part of the safety solution moving forward. I investigated solutions that would aid and educate Florida's motoring public. I started researching red light safety cameras and really started educating myself first to make sure it was truly a viable option. I reached out to traffic camera companies to get firsthand knowledge of their value, and then I reached out to policymakers, law enforcement, civic groups, to build a team to see if we could craft a bill in the state of Florida that our policymakers would pass to reduce the risk of these crashes at our Florida intersections. After 5.5 years of education, advocacy, and crafting the right language, the policymakers passed the Melissa Wandall Traffic Safety Act. The bill, which passed May 13th, 2010, allows red light safety cameras to be established and utilized at the most dangerous intersections in the state of Florida. Roadway tragedy does not have to happen, and automated enforcement is a very big part of that solution. This is truly how I became established as an advocate. My husband's death and my brother's diminished quality of life as a traffic crash survivor. This advocacy effort has led me to the next chapter, becoming the president of the National Coalition for Safer Roads. Our mission is to connect and empower survivor advocates of traffic-related tragedies with the tools and resources needed to take action, supporting an end to road violence in their own community. Much like the Target Zero initiative focuses on data-driven strategies, public awareness and education, community engagement, coordination, and collaboration, NCSR brings together policymakers, community leaders, and concerned citizens in support of life-saving technologies, advocating for their use in cities and in communities across the country. NCSR also humanizes data by sharing victim and survivor stories to demonstrate the impact of unsafe driving, attaching real faces of real victims to the research results. My trauma ignited a deep fire within my soul that propelled me to advocate not only for Mark, for Phil, my daughter Madison, but for those who I do not ever want to walk in my shoes. My trauma and my memories are still as palpable today, and I want to advocate in the highest way imaginable so that your loved ones, your colleagues, your families, your friends, and you never have to walk in my shoes. My trauma became my passion, my desire to get to zero before zero was ever sought after. One of the ways I've turned statistics and data into the real faces of our loved ones is by creating the website Driving Down Heartache, which showcases real life stories, memorializing those who have died or honoring those who have been seriously injured in roadway tragedy. The purpose of this website is twofold. It serves as a peaceful space to remember, heal, and support one another, while also encouraging personal accountability for all road users. Anyone affected in the state of Florida can submit a testimonial, and I would strongly encourage you to do that. If you know any survivors or anybody that has lost a loved one, please have them go to drivingdownheartache.org and submit their story. We'd love to share their story and surround them with love and hope, so that together we can absolutely get to zero. Remember our daughter, Madison Grace? She too was a victim of that crash, which happened on October 24th of 2003. She never got to meet her dad. Mark was so excited to become a dad, and the way his absences have affected Madison's life are too numerous to discuss here. Madison still struggles today to define who she is, not knowing where the other half of her originated from. Throughout all my advocacy efforts, our daughter was by my side. My goal was to make sure she felt empowered. I want her to show her that amid adversity, we can all do hard things. With Madison in mind, soon after Mark's death, I started a nonprofit in my husband's name, the Mark Wandall Foundation. Our nonprofit resources, aids, and uplifts youth in grief who have experienced the death of a parent, sibling, or guardian. Our program is donor funded and free of cost to all the youth we serve in the state of Florida. For the past 20 years, I have watched many of our youth grow up within our foundation, transitioning from confused to capable, from lost to leaders. Today, I'm also an active Target Zero ambassador and Vision Zero as well, working to implement both initiatives in my state and nationwide. Throughout my advocacy work with Target Zero and Vision Zero initiative, I've learned that each rely on solidarity, communication, cooperation, and coordination. Whether you are an engineer, a policymaker, representative from a government agency, law enforcement, community organization, local business, or a member of the public, we are all advocates for Florida's Target Zero initiative. We cannot achieve zero alone. As a united group of Florida advocates aiming for zero deaths and serious injury on our roadways, when we are educated on the tenets of Target Zero, we are making our transportation system safe, healthy, and equitable for all. Advocates collectively do this by humanizing the issue, supporting victims, creating empathy, raising awareness, motivating action, building connections, supporting additional advocacy efforts, inspiring change, fostering dialogue, and reducing the stigma. Sharing best practices, lessons learned, and successful interventions in the realm of roadway safety ensure that we all return home at the end of the day. Adopting both Target Zero and Vision Zero initiatives safeguards you and your community. Remember, Target Zero aims to uncover details specific to Florida's transportation system and its users to make educated, targeted improvements. Every Florida can participate because we are all advocates for Florida's Target Zero initiative. We cannot achieve zero alone. I know in the world of traffic safety programs and initiatives can overlap, but I am encouraged daily by the good work we are all doing in the state of Florida to keep our citizens safe on our roadways. We must keep moving forward, and I know together that we can achieve this. I sincerely hope that this presentation has helped highlight how these two initiatives work together to achieve zero traffic-related injuries and fatalities on Florida's roadways. Please take a moment to visit targetzeroflorida.com for more information. And remember, if you have any questions at all, feel free to contact me. I'm so grateful for your time today. You are appreciated, and I am truly grateful. I am most certain that together we can drive down heartache on Florida's roadways. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Melissa. And that was a message that I know resonates with our audience. We do have some questions, and if you could add your questions to the queue right now, we're going to have some time to answer those. At this time, I want to introduce two of our staff members, Metro Plan Orlando, who are joining Melissa on our little panel here. Laura Bauk is a senior transportation engineer and project manager at Metro Plan Orlando, and Mike Wilson is a senior transportation planner and project manager. They are both working hard every day on Vision Zero Central Florida, and they're here to help address any local aspects of questions that may come up. So I'm going to turn it over to Laura right now, and she will be moderating this portion of the program for you. Thanks again.
All right. Thank you, Marianne. And Melissa, thank you so much for sharing your story and all the great information. Your advocacy and commitment to improving safety for travelers throughout the state is truly inspiring. I must say it's been my honor over the last several months to work with transportation and affiliated professionals working under the banner of Vision Zero Central Florida to develop a regional Vision Zero action plan, as well as plans for each of the counties and municipalities in the Central Florida region. Our entire planning team here at Metro Plan Orlando, along with staff from each of our partner jurisdictions, have been working tirelessly to research root causes of all kinds of serious crashes and look for realistic solutions that we can implement. At the same time as we've been developing these action plans for our local entities and for the region, our partners at FDOT District 5 have created a safety office, and they recently developed their first safety strategic plan. This is crucial since 60% of our regional high injury network is on state roadways. So most of the region's fatal and serious injury crashes are occurring on the state system. And because such a high proportion of the region's crashes occur on the state system, your work with Target Zero is so important. As Melissa mentioned, Vision Zero has the same goal as Target Zero, which is zero serious injuries and fatalities across our transportation system. And here in Florida, as Melissa mentioned, Target Zero builds on that Vision Zero objective by focusing on influencing dangerous behaviors before serious and fatal crashes can occur. So, Mike, can you share a little bit about how the Vision Zero Central Florida efforts are also identifying and targeting those unsafe behaviors?
Well, I think it's taking similar approach to what's happening at the state level. It's identifying the behaviors. For instance, in our data, found that 44% of our fatalities involve some combination of distraction, speeding, aggression, impairment of some sort. So all sorts of things that are egregious behaviors. And so starting there, understanding the scale of it. And as Melissa was talking about in her presentation, we need to get a handle on what are the motivations that generate that in the first place before we can have an impact on changing those behaviors.
All right. Thanks, Mike. So we have had a few questions come in today. Thanks everyone who's been sending in questions. Go ahead and get those kicked off now. For our first one is, should we encourage other modes of transportation besides driving to reduce traffic deaths? And Melissa, if you wanted to say a few words, and then Mike, you follow up. And if I have anything, I'll follow up as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Yeah, we have to encourage all road users. It takes every single one of us. We have to make sure that our pedestrians are walking in our crosswalks, that they are following the rules of the road so that they can keep themselves safe, so that they can also wear bright colored clothing, wear those vests if you're going to be out at night, if you have to walk, to work, Our bicyclists are motorists. Our bicyclists are motorists. They have got to obey the rules of the road. And motorists, you have to share the road with our bicyclists. And we need to keep them safe, and they need to keep themselves safe by, wearing their helmets, wearing their clothing, obeying all the rules of the road, stopping at those stop signs, stopping at those red lights. Motorcyclists, now more than ever, we just are hearing, day in, day out that there's been a motorcycle crash, which they usually don't come back from that. And so we have to, it's not just about how we drive in our vehicles. It's how we walk. It's how we bike. It's whatever mode of transportation that we are taking on our roadways. We have to make sure that we are as safe as possible, and that we are making good decisions, so that we can be seen, that we can do all of the right things to protect ourselves. And one of the things with bicyclists and pedestrians, make eye contact with motorists if you have to. If you're if you're in a crosswalk, before you go in the crosswalk, just, I remember when I was little, like, that's what my parents taught me, even when I was a little girl, like, make eye contact always. And we've gotten away from that. And I think we need to get back to that again. Communication is key out on our roadways.
Absolutely concur. Anything to add, Mike?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've been teaching cyclist traffic cycling for 25 years or more, and I just noticed a question coming through that about early education, elementary schools. Elementary school, we're kind of limited as to what we can communicate, right? What we're looking to do as part of our program is do a middle school program, and those kids are old enough that they can actually start to understand the more complex aspects of traffic. So it's a middle school bicycle program that we're going to pilot next year, and think of it as pre-driver's ed. So they get to learn the rules of the road, for rules of movement for vehicles, do it on a slow speed vehicle, which benefits them both as bicyclists, but then also they become motorists later.
Love that. Looking forward to seeing that pilot kick off. All right, question 2. America and Florida have had safety campaigns for decades, but things seem to be getting worse instead of better. Why can't we get through to people? I'll open it up to either of you.
You know what? I think we can't give up. We have to continue. Like these campaigns where we're out on the street, like take National Stop on Red Week. We do that together. We've done it. The National Coalition for Safer Roads has done that with Metro Plan Orlando, District 5. It works. You go out on the streets and you remind people to be safe. People are friendly out there. Walk the crosswalk with them and remind them why it's important that they're in the crosswalk. Remind them. I think that we can't get to a point where we take those safety campaigns away. We have to do more. And when it seems like there's more, that's what people think, like there's more and more and more crashes. But I'll tell you, one of the things that I learned at a conference I was at recently, that actually our teen drivers their numbers are coming down. And what are we doing? We are continually educating our teen drivers, and that's why our numbers are coming down. So we can't give up. We have to keep moving forward and putting our resources in there. There's like the middle school, going into the middle schools, that's an amazing idea. These kindergartners, though, in these elementary schools, we got to remember that these kids already know how their parents drive, or how their caregiver drives, or how their grandparent drives, okay? So they already know, they're already learning these invaluable lessons, because a lot of times we say, don't do what I do, but they see what we're doing, right? They see what we're doing in our vehicles. And we have the opportunity to save their lives and for them to save other people's lives as they move forward by being better drivers. So I think it's a part of, yes, everybody says, well, it's getting worse, it's getting worse. We actually have the ability to share the resources more than we ever did before. So you didn't really hear about the crashes all the time before. Now it's really out and it's open and it's there. So I think we all have to do our part, and we can get those numbers down. But just remember the teens. Remember how much we're working with these teens, and look at the numbers that are coming down. We can do that with everyone else as well, with these good campaigns.
Thanks, Melissa.
And I would add that crashes overall actually are dropping in our area, even like for pedestrians. But the severity of those crashes is increasing. So a higher proportion of them are resulting in serious injury or death, fatalities especially. When on the pedestrian side, unfortunately, a big part of that has to do with the vehicles that we drive. We're driving taller vehicles these days, and and they're heavier, so they take longer to stop. And when they hit a pedestrian, they're taller and they're doing more damage. So yeah, the way we have to manage that is basically getting the speeds down. Speed is that underlying factor for everything. That you bring the speeds down, and all the other errors become less consequential.
Thank you. And I agree with you both. And Melissa, I will say, I agree with you. Changing behaviors is hard. And I think we have to continue to message. And I think that really having messaging that resonates with people, sharing personal stories like yours, like some of the ones that we have in the video that was linked earlier, tend to resonate with people and think about how they can be a part of the solution. So moving on to question 3. Can you talk a little bit more about building connections to stop traffic deaths? Where does one person begin? And also, what does this mean in our region of Central Florida? Melissa, if you could kick us off, that'd be great.
Sure. So you can go to targetzeroflorida.com. Go right to that website. It's going to give you information on how to get involved. And if you don't know, Melissa at melissawandall.com, reach out to me. And I'm happy to, connect you with organizations that you really believe in, because a lot of times we get out there and there's so much in front of us. Oh, do I go to this coalition or that coalition? What do I do? How can I help? Well, you can help. But if you want to go to targetzeroflorida.com first, but then also you can reach out to me, Melissa at melissawandall.com, and I can really help connect you to various organizations. I think if we have the passion, then there's so much purpose, and you're not doing it alone. I think the biggest thing is, like, I want to go back 20 years when I was passing this bill. Like, truly, I really have been one of the only advocates in the state of Florida that would go up to Tallahassee back and forth, back and forth, back and forth all the time. And it doesn't take a tragedy to occur in your life to become an advocate and to help us. When we can share our resources, when we can share our time, when we can share our talents, we all can do something. What I can do, you can't do. What you can't do, I can't do. But what collectively, if we all take our best pieces and our passions, then we can do things great and we can get to zero. So I think definitely we could really use anybody that wants to help us to get to zero.
Thank you. Anything to add, Mike?
Thank you.
Nothing to add. I'm a data guy, and so that we have someone like Melissa handling the communications is very, very important.
That. All right, let's move on to question number 4. Why is it important to reduce the stigma around traffic deaths?
We don't want to place blame. I mean, I'll just go real quick and then I'll, Mike, turn it over to you. But, the problem is you'll see it. Unfortunately, if a pedestrian is killed, it's a pedestrian's fault, or somebody will say something. If something happens with the bicyclist, well, they're not protected. They shouldn't be on a bicycle. Well, maybe that's our only mode of transportation. We have to share the road. So it's very important that we reduce the stigma of what's happening out there, that we keep sharing these stories. We keep sharing our resources so that we don't want to, as a society, we're gossipers, right? We're gossipers. We hear something and we're going to say it, or we think we know what happened. We don't want to think we know what happens. Let's stop and wait. Let's not blame anybody for anything. Let's just take a moment. Let's find out what happened if we really need to know, and then figure out how we can help not only that situation that just happened, or how to prevent these situations from happening further.
Absolutely. Avoid blaming the victim. Mike, anything to add?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think blaming the victim or just blame generally also distracts us from, well, what can I do?
Mm-hmm.
All right, if you're focused on what everyone else is doing, you're not paying attention to what you can do, because all of us have a role. We can learn to be more defensive in how we travel. regardless of what mode we're using.
Yeah, and just to say, just real briefly too, there's people that have to work at night and they have to walk home. They don't have a choice. I went to the airport at 4 o'clock in the morning and I saw this guy with a backpack riding on the road, on a state road. He doesn't have any lights on his bike, but he's like doing the best he can with what he's got. So, let's help people. Let's not blame them. Let's make sure that we're doing our part to ensure that everybody else is safe out there, and somebody might just need our help. So let's not place blame on somebody that something might have happened after dark, and let's not place blame that might have been that bicyclist or that pedestrians or that driver wasn't paying attention. We don't know any of that. Crashes, 99% of the time, these are crashes, but there are a small percentage of accidents that occur. And so let's not be blaming people. We have a lot more in us, positive things in us to get things done than to place blame on other people.
Absolutely agree. And I think that's one of the things that's actually so powerful about Vision Zero and the safe systems approach, right? It doesn't just focus on safe users, although that's a major focus, but also making our roadways safer, bringing down speeds, making our vehicles safer, those sorts of things. So thank you. That was fantastic. Lots of great questions rolling in. Let's keep it moving. Let's see. How can we hold road design accountable for inducing speeding? Lanes are too wide. Who wants to kick that one off?
Well, we finally turned a corner in that respect. For many years, all of the policies and standards really drove those higher speeds, the methods by which we design the roads and by which we operate them. So recent changes are giving us the tools to turn that around, but it's a big ship and it's going to take a while. So yeah, it's not just lane width. There's all kinds of other factors that come into play, and we're just going to have to be steadfast in identifying the corridors where we need to make those changes and making the investments to change the designs to bring them into a more humane speed range.
Yeah, and I think the FDOT's done a really good job. I mean, they're doing a really good job. The thing is that most people don't understand, 20 years ago, we didn't all know that 10,000 people a day would be moving into into Florida. These designs and implementing, it takes time. Yes, we want to change it immediately, but that's not realistic. So there are small changes that are happening out there on our roadways. That's why we have construction in Florida daily. It's not just because there's new homes being built. It's because we're trying to make but FDOT, not we, FDOT is trying to make our roadways safer for all of us. They are listening, they are paying attention. And also the federal government is really doing some things. They're starting through our Infrastructure Safety Act. They're starting to, look at ways that they can give communities and states more money to be able to change the trajectory of what's happening out there. But infrastructure takes more time than we're patient for. But please understand, and I want to say this as an advocate, I also say this about, automated enforcement. If it wasn't working, my husband's name wouldn't be on it. If I didn't believe that we were moving our roads safer, that we're trying to get there, I wouldn't be a Target Zero ambassador. I believe in it. I believe that FDOT is doing what they need to do. Yes, it takes long, but that's it. There's just, you can't put a timeline on safety. We didn't get here overnight, and we're not going to fix it overnight, but there is good work being done. I do have to say that.
Absolutely. You can't put a timeline on safety. I feel like I need a t-shirt. And we've been saying throughout this process that this goal, it's a big goal, right? Getting to zero fatalities and serious crashes. It's a generational goal. It'll take a while, but I think we're moving in the right direction and making the right moves to get there. Let's see, what do we have next? So can we have early education in elementary schools? Touched on this a little bit earlier. Teach children young and continue education when they get their license so these good behaviors are instilled at a young age.
Yeah, I'll let Mike go, but I truly believe in that. Again, I believe that the education belongs when we bring them home from the hospital and put them in the back seat of our vehicles. and how we teach them what happens in our vehicles. We as parents have to be a part of that. The family has to really get involved in the caregivers and who's riding in their vehicles and teaching these children, first of all. And then once they get into the elementary school, I totally think, I think that there could be, you know, little books written so that they could understand it, little safety things that can be done within the elementary school. But I think, again, it's not just the educators in the schools, but I think it's really important that we get our families involved in teaching our kids at a young age how to drive appropriately so that we can save our own lives in the vehicle, but that we also take care of each other around our vehicle, because driving is absolutely a privilege and it is not a right. And we need to teach our children that.
Great point. Anything to add, Mike?
Well, you know, there are criteria state criteria for elementary school education for pedestrian and bicyclist safety, and to varying degrees, you know, that is implemented. But as I alluded to earlier, I think there's a continuing need that when you get into middle school and high school of going beyond, because there's only so much you can teach someone in elementary school from a traffic standpoint, and that we need to do more in that respect for the older kids.
Thank you. I will
Stop,
say
look, and listen. Stop, look, and listen.
There you go.
Our kids more than ever are walking to school. And I'm telling you, I live in a very small community, and I'm surprised at the little kids that walk to school on their own. And we have to teach them to stop, look, and listen, you know, and be aware and make that eye contact with the kids. I mean, I think that we can't be more simple. And I don't think we complicate things. I think we make little things that they understand a lot more than we think that they do.
Absolutely do. I will say I did a teaching at my son's school this year and did a safety presentation, and they had lots of great ideas. They know, you know, they should be wearing helmets, not be distracted in the car, not distracting their parents. And they're listening, they're looking, and they'll remind their parents when they see them doing unsafe behaviors in the car. So I think they're advocates as well for safety.
Yeah, that sounds great.
All right, let's see. Next question. How can we re-educate folks about basic behaviors like using turn signals? I see so many close calls that could have been avoided if people had just used their signals and communicated well on the road.
Do you, okay, so yeah, well, I know, sorry, I keep jumping in, the speaker in me, sorry, Mike, but you can jump in anytime. You know what, I just think that people have gotten lax, right, in their vehicles anyways. I think a lot of times we come home and we don't know how we got home. We're not impaired, right? We're not impaired. We're thinking about, you know, what we need to fix for dinner, or if we're going to work in the morning, what do we got to do? Our to-do list is too big. We are multitasking, and I'm not just talking about using our cell phones. I'm talking about we are multitasking in our brain every day. And it really truly is a mental health issue. Number one, there's a lot of things going on in our minds, and we are taking it out in our vehicles. We are forgetting to put the turning signal. The turning signal is a pet peeve of mine too, so I totally get that. But you know, honking horns and encouraging people to make better decisions is that's not what we're going to do. We're just people are going to retaliate. You know, it'd be so great if we could have refresher courses. It'd be amazing. It's mindfulness. That's all that it is. At the end of the day, it's mindfulness. You know, we should get in our vehicles. We should put our seatbelts on. We should put our phones away so we won't be distracted by them. We should remember all the rules of the road. You know, stop at that stop sign, at a red light, stop behind that white line. You know, if we're going to move over, use our turning signal. It's just mindfulness, you know, and it's a really hard thing to teach and remind people. It really is.
You know, and that mindfulness is the way I like to look at it is the essence of our traffic rules is cooperation, and it's not a competition. So between distraction, multitasking, and then having a competitive mindset, all of those work against how our road system is supposed to work. So if we can just have that cooperative mindset of This is where you're interacting with your community, whether you're behind the wheel or behind handlebars or walking. And so think about how do we make not only make your own life better, but make life better everyone around you. And that's all about cooperation.
Mhm.
I love
great.
those answers. And I guess I would add in, I don't know that it's necessarily re-educating, but maybe reminding people, right? And I think that gets back to that consistent messaging. Just, remind people you need to pay attention when you're on the road.
Mhm.
All right, but questions continue to roll in. The next one, is there any work being done with the Department of Highway Safety to have announcements or PSAs when people are renewing their driver license? If either of you are aware of any of those efforts ongoing.
I wouldn't be able to answer that, but we could totally get back to you. Mike might know, I don't, but I can ask those questions, and whoever asked that, I'd be happy to get back to you with an answer.
I don't, but I have been pushing that idea for a very long time. And my thought is actually to do it during tag renewal, which is much more frequent. And that the key thing is that it not be perceived or not actually be anything that's that if you fail you don't get your tag, but there's always new laws coming on the books, so there's an opportunity to reach people about that. Most of us are renewing our tags online now, so there's that could be tacked onto the system. So I'm hoping that someone will take lead. The county tag offices could conceivably be doing something like this.
It's a great idea as well. And keep putting them out in the universe until one takes hold. All right, let's see. Oh, this is a good one. There have been many suggestions coming into the chat and the Q&A given to help eliminate traffic deaths. If you could pick only one solution, what would it be?
Speed reduction.
There you go.
For people to be mindful that in a moment we have the opportunity to save a life or end a life. So it has to start from within. It really does. We have the power.
Let's see. Slowing down a little bit. Okay. All right, that was the last question. We're running out of time, so we're going to go ahead and wrap it up there. And I'll say thank you all, Melissa, Mike, everyone that's joined us today. We're hoping that you'll stay in touch with us. If you didn't get to share today about how you think we can stop traffic deaths, please send us an email on the screen. We want to hear your ideas. And we hope you'll continue to follow our safety speaker series. Next Thursday, June 13th, we will be at the Bike Walk Central Florida's Wheel of Achievement Awards program, where active transportation advocate and Blue Zones researcher Dan Burden will be speaking live. We'll be streaming his address on our YouTube channel starting at 9 a.m., so please tune in if you can. Before you go today, Melissa has a 1-minute survey that she would like you to take. You can see the QR code, right there on the screen. And we put the link in the chat as well. We'll give you a minute to capture that and link to the survey. So please take a moment to give her your feedback when you can. This is where you can stay in touch with all the important initiatives that are part of the Target Zero and Vision Zero efforts. Please remember that we can get to zero, and it will take all of us working together to do it. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much.